Cinderella flew across the kitchen, dodging flying plates, sidestepping a falling bucket, and narrowly missing a rampaging cat.
Cinderella!
Screeched Anastasia from the grand staircase.
We need our dresses ironed, the floors scrubbed, our shoes shined, our hair curled, and clean the entire house inside and out twice before we leave for the ball.
Cinderella caught a falling broom midair.
That's a lot.
Drizella popped her head around the corner, cackling.
You better hurry. You wouldn't want to be late.
Lady Tremaine stepped forward, holding her tea.
You are invited, of course. But if you don't finish your chores, well,
She shrugged.
that would be quite unfortunate.
Cinderella glanced at the mountain of tasks they had dumped on her. There was no way she could do it all and still have time to get ready. She grabbed a broom in one hand, a mop in the other, and started scrubbing at superhuman speed. Dust swirled, soap splattered, the cat hissed. It was impossible. Cinderella dropped the broom and took a deep breath. She had one last option. She grabbed her emergency pumpkin phone and called Snow White.
Hey, bestie.
Minutes later, there was a loud crash outside the house. Snow White burst through the front door, dual-wielding feather dusters.
All right, where's the mess?
Cinderella gestured wildly at the chaos. Snow White surveyed the scene.
Yikes, they really went all out with the whole treating you like a maid thing, huh?
I don't have time to talk.
Cinderella groaned, throwing a pillowcase at her.
Just help!
On it.
Snow White flipped backward onto a countertop, grabbed a bucket midair, and slammed it onto the floor. Water exploded everywhere.
Why did you do that?
Well, we had to start somewhere.
They raced through the house. Cinderella swept at supersonic speed. Snow White dusted tables like a maniac. Lucifer the cat caused absolute destruction. They tackled the cleaning like warriors in battle. Cinderella spun in circles, dusting 4 shelves at once. Snow White swung from a chandelier, wiping cobwebs with her feet. Finally, after one last mop swipe, they collapsed onto the floor, gasping.
We did it.
Cinderella panted. Snow White held up a single sparkling glass.
Look at that. Actual cleanliness.
But then, a knock at the door. They froze. Lady Tremaine stepped inside, examining the spotless house. She mused.
It appears you've finished.
The stepsisters pushed past her.
What? How?
Drizella howled. Anastasia sniffed.
Did she cheat?
Lady Tremaine sighed dramatically.
I suppose you may go.
Cinderella and Snow White screamed in victory.
Ball time.
Snow White stared at Cinderella's dress.
Girl, no.
Cinderella frowned.
What's wrong with it?
It looks like it survived an earthquake.
A familiar glow filled the room. Poof! A plump woman in way too much glitter appeared.
Fairy godmother at your service.
Before Cinderella could react, Fairy Godmother flicked her wand. Cinderella's rags transformed into a shimmering blue gown. Snow White nudged Fairy Godmother.
Hey, what about me?
Fairy Godmother raised an eyebrow.
Are you invited?
I am now.
Snow White grinned. Fairy Godmother shrugged and flicked her wand again. Snow White's dress turned golden, her shoes sparkled, and her hair somehow curled itself perfectly long and then short up into her familiar bob. Snow White spun around dramatically.
Oh, yeah. You look amazing.
Cinderella exclaimed. Outside, a pumpkin exploded into a golden carriage. Cinderella grabbed Snow White's hand.
Let's
go.
The second Cinderella and Snow White stepped into the ballroom, every head turned. The prince gasped.
Who are they?
It's her.
Drizella screeched. Anastasia choked on her drink.
She brought a +1.
Lady Tremaine's teacup shattered in her hand. The prince stepped forward.
Would you do me the honor of this dance?
He asked Cinderella. Cinderella grinned.
Absolutely.
Snow White spun toward Anastasia and Drizella.
Hi, girls.
She grabbed their hands.
Let's dance.
Wait, no.
Too late. Snow White dragged the screaming sisters onto the dance floor and started spinning them wildly. Drizella tripped over her own feet. Anastasia got tangled in her dress. Lady Tremaine face-palmed. Meanwhile, Cinderella and the prince glided across the ballroom, completely unbothered. The fancy trumpet clock struck midnight. Cinderella gasped.
Oh, no.
Snow White grabbed her hand and ran for their lives, dropping one of Cinderella's shoes in the process.
Bye, losers.
Snow White yelled over her shoulder to the sisters. The stepsisters tried to chase after them, but tripped over each other and crashed into a dessert table. Lady Tremaine sighed.
I really should have raised cats instead.
The next morning, the royal messenger arrived at Cinderella's house. He knocked on the door, Drizella and Anastasia answered and shoved each other aside.
Prince Charming has said, I can't finish work until I find the girl who left this shoe at the ball last night.
The messenger exclaimed.
I need all the ladies of the house to try this shoe on.
Me first.
Drizella jammed her foot inside.
It fits.
Your 6 toes are hanging out.
The messenger said. Anastasia snatched the shoe.
Ow, ow, ow.
Perhaps someone else in the house should try.
Cinderella stepped forward. The stepsisters shrieked.
No!
She slid her foot in effortlessly. The messenger nodded.
It fits.
The carriage door burst open. The prince sat there grinning.
It's you.
Cinderella grinned back.
Yep.
Snow White crossed her arms.
All right, I'm calling dibs on his messenger.
Drizella and Anastasia screamed. Lady Tremaine simply sipped her tea. Cinderella and Snow White hopped into the royal carriage. As they rode off toward their happily ever after, Cinderella leaned towards Snow White.
You know what?
What?
I think we just won.
Snow White grinned.
Yeah, we did.
The end for now. Subscribe to see how the ugly sisters get their revenge.